Hello everybody, we're going to start session 7 today, and in session 7 we are going to talk about solving right triangles, and so we will have an example of what's going to happen here, but we're going to do a couple of warm-up problems just to make sure that we're all on the same page here. Alright, so the first problem here says use the trigonometric ratio cosine of A is 4/5 to determine which angle of the triangle is angle A. Alright, so basically if I'm dealing with angle A, well, we only really have two options. We're not going to deal with the right angle. So if we're talking cosine of, let's just set up a cosine for angle 1 here. Cosine of angle 1, we'll put an angle symbol there, angle 1 is equal to, well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. That would be equal to 6/10. So if I reduce 6/10 by dividing by 2, that would give me 3/5, which is not what I'm looking for. So angle 1 probably, or angle 1 is definitely not cosine of A, and this is not A. But let's check angle 2 just to make sure. So cosine of angle 2 would be adjacent over hypotenuse, which would be 8/10, which could be reduced to 4/5. So angle A is equal to angle 2. And that's really what we're trying to find. So angle A is angle 2. All right, let's try another example. Now, in this one, we're talking about solving trig functions. So if I want to find an angle, remember we talked about using arcsine, arccosine, and arctangent. You can use a web-based calculator out there, and it will help you. It would help you find these things, and I will be using that in the next couple slides. So we are going to practice using a graphing calculator or a calculator to find these different arc stuff. And so if you look, I've got arcsine of 0.5. So basically what I'm looking at is what is the angle when sine has a ratio of 0.5. So if I put so what I did here, let's clear this out here. I'm going to hit second and sine, that is my arc sine, and then I'm going to put in 0.5. And so when I do that and hit enter, that would be 30 degrees. And that's what we're looking for. And so you got to make sure we're in degree mode. I made sure of that before, and that was just a matter of changing the function. So now we're doing arc cosine. So we go second cosine of 0.25, and when I hit equal on that, it is telling me that it is 75.5 degrees. And then the last one is we're talking arctangent, so second tangent, arctangent of 5.1. Hit enter. That is telling me that it is 78.9 degrees. And so we need to be able to find these on a calculator because we need at least 1/10 of these. And so make sure you guys are bringing your calculators. All right, so now they're asking us in this one to find the unknown measures and round them all to the nearest 100th, 10th, 100,000th, whatever. All right, so I'm going to need to find this angle, which would be an unknown measure, angle P. Angle R is an unknown measure, and angle Z is or side Z, which is PR, is the unknown measure. So when we're solving this, we're just trying to find every missing piece that we have. Well, if you notice, if I was going to solve for x, if you look at the two sides they gave me the opposite and the adjacent. All right, so if I'm going to use opposite and adjacent, well, that triggers in my mind that I'm using tangent. So I'm going to say tangent of x will be equal to the opposite over the adjacent. And so then what we just did on the previous slide is, since I'm trying to find an angle, because that's what I don't know, I would do the arctangent of 6/5.9. And if I type that into my calculator here, I'll bring up my calculator. There's my calculator. I'll clear it out. We're going to go arctangent of 6. Where's divided by? I don't see divided on this. Go to the seconds. Oh, there it is. Divided by 5. 5.9. Close the parentheses. Equals, looks like 45.5 degrees. So angle X is 45.5 degrees. Now, do I need to set up a trig function to find y? I could. I could do a tangent and do opposite over adjacent. Oh, and actually, I chose the wrong. It's not 5.9, it's 5.4. So let's pull that back up and adjust here. So let's clear this out. Second tangent of 6 divided by 5.4. That gives me a 48.0, which is a little bit different than what we got here. So let's get rid of some of these guys here. Come on, go away. Let's get rid of this. Let's just rewrite this. So my angle X, is 48.0 degrees. All right, so now do I really need to go about and find angle Y? Do I need to work that hard and use a trig function? No. I can actually use the fact that all three angles in this triangle add up to be 180 and say 48 plus 90 would be 138 degrees, and then saying that plus y has to equal 180. Well, if I subtract that from 180, subtract 138 from 180, that will tell me y. So when I'm solving a triangle trying to find missing angles, I don't need all of the pieces. I just need one angle and I can find the other one. And so when I do that, I believe I get 42 degrees. And so y is 42 degrees. And you may notice that, hey, look, if I take 48 and 42 and add them together, I get 90 degrees. So I didn't have to go through all of this. I could have just subtracted 48, which was this angle right here, from 90, which would be the remaining piece up here, which gives me that is 42 degrees. All right, so that would have been a shortcut. Now to find z. You can use a trig function if you like, or you can use Pythagorean theorem. Your call on how you want to solve it. I'm going to go through and do Pythagorean theorem on it because, I don't know, I think that's a little bit easier than setting up a trig function, but you can do what you want. We'll do it both ways. So if I want to find z, I'm going to say 5.4 squared plus 6 squared equals z squared. And so if I square 5.4, I get 29.16. And if I square 6, I get 36. That equals z squared. Totaling those two gives me 65.16. That equals z squared. And then if I take the square root of both sides, that will tell me what z is. And so z is going to be somewhere around 8. It's going to be 8.07 or 8.1. All right, and that is solving a right triangle. It's finding all the missing pieces that we didn't have before. We had 48 degrees, 42 degrees, and 8.1 degrees. All right, let's try another one here. In this one, we want to, if a hill has a percent grade of 52%, what angle does the hill make with the horizontal line? Round the answer to the nearest degree. So basically what they're asking me to find, if I was to draw a line like this, here's the horizontal line, they're asking me what angle do we get right there? And so that's the piece we need to be able to solve. And so if I'm going to solve this, I am going to do, I have to look and figure out which trig function I have. And right now, the trig function, I have the opposite side and the adjacent side. So that rings a bell that it's going to be tangent. So tangent of x will equal the opposite over the adjacent. And again, if I want to solve this, I'm going to use arctangent because I'm trying to find an angle. And so x will equal the arctangent of 52 over 100, and if I type that into my calculator here, clear this guy all the way out, second tangent, arctangent of 52 divided by 100, close my parentheses. That gives me that the angle is 27.5 degrees. And that's what we were looking for. So the angle that they're looking for is 27.5 degrees. All right, and so as we're doing this, you guys are just going to have to be able to work your way through and find all the missing pieces. And that is solving right triangles.